Welcome to the Business Buyer Diaries. My name is Nathan Platter. I'm a full-time employee, and I bought a business. I did everything right, from finding the deal, handling all the due diligence on 63 opportunities, and ultimately bought a profitable gym. And boy, was I in for a big surprise as a new owner. I chronicled everything in real time, including the biggest wins to the stressful nights at 2 a.m. I'm sharing my journey without sugarcoating anything, so you don't make the same mistakes that I did. Here's today's episode.
Hello. Happy Thursday. So today I want to talk about tying your wins and your losses to something that's tangible. It's weird, but when you own a small business and you see the revenue going in, the revenue going out, at first it's really, you feel like the big wins and big losses. So like right now the club does like an average like 30 to 50,000 a month in revenue. And that's a big swing depending on the month. And so at first it was like, wow, $1,000, that's amazing. But then when you realize you need 1,500 to like cover your costs, it's like, oh, 1,500, that's a lot of money. It costs $1,500 a day to keep the doors open. And you feel the weight because like a home budget in America is like, well, it varies wildly, but an average home spends like $6,000 to $12,000 a month in expenses. I mean, 5,000 to 12,000, and it's a big range, but like, we'll just go with 12,000 for like a more high expense household. That's $500 a day. So when you see 1,500 for a business, you're just spending like $500 a day on your personal life. The business is like, oh my gosh, that's extremely expensive. That's a lot of weight. That's a lot of cost. So anyhow, all that to say, you get numb to the revenue and the expense relatively quickly. And you more so start to feel that net profit per day more than the revenue. And so right now, when the gym is doing rough and you're like, oh, it cost 10 grand, we lost 10 grand over the month, it's starting to go numb a little bit. Like you don't feel it as much as I don't feel it as much as I used to. And so that's good for like endurance and like the longevity of the business. But it also means if there's a small win, you don't really feel it. And so like I'm setting up an affiliate thing and it's still in progress. If I'm plugging it for these episodes, you'll already know about it, but I'm setting up an affiliate thing with a course creator and basically like how to buy a business, how to do due diligence and all that stuff. I'm mapping out like, okay, well, what's like the target commission or the target referrals on it? And I'm just estimating like 2,000 a month. I don't know if that's high or low. I don't know how to size these things. But let's just pretend I'm expecting to make $2,000 a month by promoting this thing. Well, I'm used to like $10,000 losses. And so to me, like, an extra $2,000 a month in affiliate commissions, that's nothing. Is that really worth my time? And on that comparison, 10,000 to 2,000, well, no, 2,000 sounds like a waste. Like, that's not even worth my while. But then when I plug that into my personal life, like, oh, what could 2,000 a month do for me? Like, well, it could cover a mortgage. Okay, I still have like free housing, or that could cover like 2 really nice vehicles. That's almost like 2 Escalade leases. Like I could lease 2 Escalades a month. Like, wow, that could really change my life. 2,000 a month, that's a game changer. And so all I have to say, part of that means like, well, 10,000 a month in losses, that's really bad. Like that's 10 Escalades of losses a month. Okay, well, another way to frame it. So anyhow, I'm having to play with in my brain how I frame wins and losses, because at the gym, like there's big losses, but like now our members are converting to monthly enrollment, and that's an extra 12,000. Well, it starts as 12, it'll taper its way down, but now it's an additional like that. We now have 10 Escalade leases covered a month, like because of the new revenue that we have. That's awesome. That's fantastic. And so there's so many, and for all the non-math people here, you have to just reframe how you're connecting it. So I'm learning to, instead of framing things in terms of numbers, because they start to lose their edge on how it impacts me, I'm having to frame it in terms of tangible things. So does this cover a mortgage payment? Does this cover the business rent payment each month? Does this cover payroll for the month? Will this cover my family vacation that we want to have this year? And for some people, they go to Mexico and an all-inclusive resort. And for some people, their vacation is camping in Duluth, Minnesota. And like, An all-inclusive is like a $5,000 trip. Camping in Duluth is like a $300 trip. And so, yeah, you have to play in your brain on how you're framing things. And so I'm learning to frame them in things that are tangible. Because I'm a numbers person, very logical. And after seeing these numbers, it almost feels like Monopoly money. Like when I say that, when you play Monopoly, you don't feel like, oh, the big losses, because it's Monopoly money. It's play imaginary numbers. So I need to frame the business wins and losses as things that are tangible in real life, as well as like little wins like affiliates, referrals, commissions, and all these things, so that like a win, it feels like a win. And a loss, a loss is still a loss, but it's not going to crush me because it's this overwhelming thing. And so realizing like, okay, well, if I'm like for the marketing agency, I have some referrals that are coming out of that. That's pretty cool. For a education program on how to do due diligence for a business, I think I'll have some affiliate commissions coming in on that. That's kind of nice too. And so how are those tangibly going to change my life? And I need to peg those to real life things like vehicle, a mortgage payment, payroll, a vacation. Oh, if we want to like buy an RV, like, is this going to pay for the RV? So that we have a free RV. If we want to now give to my church, and each year we want to like support 10 kids going to summer camp. That's actually something that we really want to do. One thing that we did recently, my wife went to the like where you can like sponsor a child in another country for like $5. I don't know what the rates are, but like $5 a day can feed a child and their family or send them to school. Like we found kids that have the exact same birthdays as my kids. And so now we're tangibly supporting 3 kids that have the same birthdays as my kids. And that's pretty cool. And so like how many children can we now support? And having like a real life tangible thing. And so just mental tricks so that these ups and downs can be weathered and tempered and are tangible. That's my win. That's my learning. Instead of stressing about everything is big, everything is weighty, everything is material, finding ways to keep it more lighthearted and upbeat. That's my learning right now. And so that keeps it more fun, more engaging, more interactive, and not as stressful. So that's where we're at. That's where we're going. Let's rock and roll, and let's learn how to reframe money or finances or spreadsheets so that they're tangible, real life outcomes. Let's rock and roll.
This has been another episode of the Business Buyer Diaries. Subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. I hope you're realizing that business ownership is no cakewalk. Check the podcast notes for a link to the DIY Due Diligence program, the complete list of show sponsors, and for media inquiries. Music written and composed by Wes Schrock. I'm your host, Nathan Platter. Join me again on the next one.